Hi.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, Elizabeth. Good to be in a seated situation with you.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So I was wondering, well, I've engaged with you a couple times now in collaborative art pieces, and the first time was with the show that Dorothy Santos curated, which was a show that happened on both sides of the bay that you were very pivotal in also organizing, that was looking at intersections of surveillance and displacement. And I feel like that sort of intersection is something that this entire show also looks at, and it's something that I think we need to, as a community, also get better at connecting, right? As these big tech companies are also connected to speculative real estate apparatuses and issues of privacy, blah, blah, blah. But I just want to hear you talk about the evolution of that collaboration with Dorothy, and then also how that you see that feeding this show.
Sure, okay. So the Bay Area Society for Art and Activism is an organization that it emerged out of the summer of 2013. I don't know if that was, I think we could, there's no way to romanticize it really. It was ugly, but that was really kind of when the clarity of the situation in San Francisco and in the Bay Area really kind of became unignorable. And I had an infant daughter. She was like 4 or 5 months old by like September of 2013, and I'm a San Franciscan native. I was born in Daly City, and I grew up in San Francisco. And I really wanted my daughter to have the experience of growing up in San Francisco because it's a special place, and as I've grown, like I really value that experience, and I wanted her to have that. And by the summer of 2013, it sort of seemed like, I mean, it's a given that she's going to have a slightly different experience of me growing up in San Francisco, but what was emerging was not the experience I really wanted for her. And so the Bay Area Society for Art and Activism was kind of just this effort to cultivate art and activism as a regional value, because I sort of felt this like onslaught of like newcomers who want to be San Franciscan but don't know what that means, and I have my own strong opinion about what that means, and I felt like art and activism was really central to that, and so wanting to provide artists with opportunities and resources to share art and activist work, right? Because it intersects with the commercial art market in various ways, especially for different artists. And so I felt like a fiscally sponsored nonprofit, Some Arts Cultural Center is our fiscal sponsor, and just fundraise and redistribute that money so that people doing the kind of work that you do didn't have to feel so, or just had, even nominal amounts of income. So the Dissidents and the Dissidents, the Displaced, and the Outliers was an exhibition curated by Dorothy Santos, and it came to me in the sense that, in that fall of 2013, I don't know if anyone else has had this experience where you want to look something up on the internet, right? So you use, everyone's favorite search engine, and suddenly I got this like really spooky feeling that every time I looked something up on Google, every time I like looked at my family's photos on Facebook, like that quiet metadata collection was slowly displacing me from my home. The economic model and the profit making from that was making my housing situation not just my housing situation, but the housing situation for those in my community increasingly precarious. And when the news of the Yanez Lopez family eviction came, like that was really the turning point for me. And so I had this kind of like looming sense that the metadata collection and my livelihood and my home were connected, but I didn't have a framework or any kind of theory or philosophy. It was just this spooky feeling. I couldn't have even articulated it as well as this at that point. And I didn't know Dorothy that well, but I was kind of, as a sort of just newly hatched organization, I was like, we need to plan something. We need to, as we go tell people about our organization, we should have something in the works. And I kind of handed it off to Dorothy, and I was like, housing security and digital privacy, go. I don't understand it, but she seemed to have a particularly unique set of skills around that. And I think that, and then strategically wanting to, my mother and father immigrated to the United States and came to San Francisco, and they worked in the biotech community, which is kind of this, great uncle to the social media, web-based tech community. So I don't necessarily, want to feel so alienated from people who are moving to this region, for a livelihood. But the policies are fucked up, right? The housing situation isn't okay. Sorry, I just swore into the microphone. I didn't mean that just happened.
It's okay.
Okay, thanks. It's just Erin is, yeah. And so, we collaborated with the Electronic Frontier Foundation as kind of a regional activist organization, right, that has its own relationship to the tech community, and wanting to, open up this conversation in that way with, newcomers to the city, as well as, this incredibly rich, established community of artists and activists. Did that?
Yeah,
that was
you.
a really long answer to what was probably a simple question.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, and I think it also relates to the different art that's in this gallery right now. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, do you think there's a way that alternative technologies or non-corporate technologies can actually shift the ways that we engage in technology and actually become something? Because I think that there's so many people that position the anti-eviction movement as anti-tech, but then there are actually cool and interesting technologies that aren't invasive and aren't responsible for displacement, but they get so marginalized. I just wonder about the future.
Yeah. Well, so, right, I feel like I love technology. My father is a software engineer. My stepfather was an electrical engineer. It's not, okay, I'm just gonna say, it's not technology that's the problem, right? It's capitalism. There, I said it.
You said it.
And and so I think it's what are the economies that are going to support the development of new kinds of technology, and how can the tech community reconcile its its income business strategy with something that's ultimately self-defeating. There, I said that too.
You said that. That's great.
I mean, right? It's again, it's not that it's, and for the larger corporations, I think they've really, they've picked their model, and I don't know how nimble. If I was going to pick a technology model, right, I would pick something that was open source and really challenged kind of the economic system for how we share those ideas.
Of course. I have 1 minute, is that right? Okay. So what's next for Bay Area Society for Art and Activism?
Yeah, we had this we had, just because we have the support of an incredible group of artists and activists, had this really amazing first breakout year that I just, all of a sudden after the year, I was just like, oh my God, now what? I don't know how where to go from there, because it already had far exceeded what I had imagined was possible. And I feel like I would like the organization to have a slightly quieter year. And this is maybe part of my subtle critique of capitalism. I don't want to feel compelled to go, because it's just not going to be sustainable for me. And so I think I'm trying to think critically about the nonprofit model and how that works with a sustainable lifestyle, because I really want to believe that like our longevity is probably like one of the great things that we can do just to continue to exist and to be. And it's so easy to feel like exhausted and just kind of move on. And I don't want to do that. So we're just going to keep being. That's our goal.
Keep being. All right. Well,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Erin.
Yeah.
That was nice.